Hey there, my name's Ethonra, and welcome to Destiny 2 Warmind, kind of. I thought it'd be best if we start here, for reasons I'm about to get into. So, let's see, where to begin. Alright, so, here's something pretty interesting. I can't prove it, as much as I wish I could. I can't, because I didn't have recording equipment back when I was in Destiny 1. But believe it or not, I actually had lore for my own EXO, and it just so happened both of the lores correspond to what actually happens in Destiny 2. What I'm saying is, in any game that allows me to do customization, I always give my character a backstory, because it is so incredibly boring to have everyone and their grandmother have the exact same story. So I like to, not necessarily roleplay, but at least put in my head the kind of things that I like for my character. And one of those things where I'm not sure what that noise was, by the way. I thought it was my phone, but I'll explain that in a second. So, one of those things about the EXO in my original Destiny 1 thing, I was a hunter too, and the backstory was, for me, is I wanted my character to have been human in the past, and not just some machine. Lo and behold, that's exactly what an EXO is. Not only that, once I found that out a little bit sometime later, because you got to remember, in Destiny 1, they don't just tell you these things, and the clues were not as apparent as they are in Destiny 2. In addition to, if you wanted to learn about the lore, you actually had to go to an entirely different website to read about it. It wasn't present in the game, so you would never know this unless you heard about it from a friend, or you could read between the lines, which again, there weren't very many, or you went to the website like I did. So sometime later, once found out that EXOs were once human, I was like, okay, well, I'll just make my character even more unique. And what I did was, I had in my head that my character was a special EXO with ties to the Vex. And by doing that, I gave them the red-orange eyes, and I gave them this skin color that, I kid you not, looks exactly like one of the skins of the Vex. It's this bleached chrome bronze look. It's kind of hard to explain what exactly the color is, but you can give your EXO that skin color and it makes them look like they're essentially a Vex EXO, which I thought was pretty cool. So I did that, and as I proved the other day, turns out the Vex and the EXO have ties to each other as well, because in this facility, Clovis Bray actually has ties to both the EXOs and the Vex, because you can look at Clovis Bray as being, quote unquote, the father of all EXOs, essentially. And he did that by actually tapping into Vex technology. That's not going to be mentioned here, but I'm going to allow this to kind of explain the rest of that. In addition to, I did fix my notifications, so hopefully you won't see that black bar appear anymore. I just have to fix it. So as long as I remember to turn that off before I stream or record, it shouldn't be an issue. So here's hoping that works. With that being said, let's dive into the lore.
The human mind in a mechanical body. We are at the cusp of major breakthroughs in making this a reality. Would you like to know more?
Why, yes. Yes, we would.
Early experiments in exoscience managed to encode the human consciousness into a form that could be processed digitally. At the time, we believed that was the big hurdle to overcome in the creation of the EXO. Little did we know, the real challenge would be the phenomenon known as dissociative exomind rejection. Nascent proto-exos developed serious symptoms of cognitive disorder that eventually led to death. It turned out the human mind would not reconcile its presence in a new body. It took multiple iterations in design, but the Clovis Bray Corporation eventually developed several solutions. The first is to reboot the mind once it has been transferred, allowing it to awaken inside its new shell as though it were being reborn. This has side effects of memory loss and fragmentation, but it's highly effective in the prevention of DER. The reboot process can be repeated multiple times to further the odds of survival. It is not currently known how many times a human consciousness can be rebooted, but scientists estimate it to be around 20. The second preventative measure to DER is to program certain humanisms within exos. As machines, they have not the physical needs to eat or reproduce like real humans, but artificially injecting that drive has been clinically proven to reduce the odds of DER. Further experimentation is required to perfect the EXO project, but you can be assured that Clovis Bray is at the forefront in the field of exoscience.
I think that's all, but just to be safe.
The human mind in a mechanical body.
So, yeah, that's not everything about the Exos. They're much more mysterious than that. The only thing probably more mysterious than them are the Awoken, and that's a maybe, because the Awoken have been touched by both the light and the darkness, but that's a story in of itself. But as I said, obviously they're not going to mention, oh, by the way, every Exo has been encoded with the radiolarian, it was special radiolarian fluid, by the way, of the Vex. So, you know, don't worry about that. As well as Clovis Bay being responsible for the Exos, I don't know if they were completely in charge of all the Warminds, but I do know they play a major part with Rasputin, who I absolutely hate. I despise Rasputin. And considering the fact that we, you know, in Destiny, you got to deal with the Fallen, the Cabal, the Hive, the Vex, the Taken. There's one other race I kind of spoiled. They're called the Scorn, and we'll worry about them in the next expansion. Considering we're dealing with all of those things, as well as some of the atrocities various accounts those races have done to us, and I still hate Rasputin the most, that should tell you something. But yeah, Rasputin is a total douche. I hate him. So, unfortunately, we do have to deal with an expansion that is all about him. So, let's just get it over with. On the bright side, Anna Bray is pretty cool. And in case the name didn't give it away, yes, she's a female, and I do say that about a lot of them. Ikora Ray, Amanda Holiday, Anna Bray, I know it's all their names end in A for some reason. Failsafe, she's the exception there, but all of them, great characters. Keep in mind also how they just so happen to be female and don't beat you over the head about being strong, independent women that don't mind being no Mary Sues. That's how you write a character properly. I'm not going to lecture you. I just want to point that out here. You'll notice, compare, again, not Clovis, Anna Bray, Amanda Holiday, Ikora Ray, Failsafe. Compare them to some of the other, let's say, female role models, and I'm putting that as politely as I can. Compare that to them, and you'll see the discrepancy here. You can write your characters to where they're actually likable. That's all I'm saying. That being said, we're about to get a little cutscene of Anna Bray. Oh, and there's also some backstory with them that, again, you would never, ever guess just by talking to them.
Life is a delicate thing, Guardian. Hope, faith, love. In an instant, they're gone. Everything you've sworn to protect is lost. And all you're left with is silence and shadow, and the knowledge that you should have done more. Could we have defeated Gaul if the Traveler hadn't awakened? And what of the next threat? Or the next? What then? The Traveler is awake, and the age of legends is upon us. In the shadow of the light, our universe is a beautiful, terrible place. Where I once saw miracles, now I see monsters. Someone has to. We have to. That's what a Guardian does.
But yeah, you would. There's some things about these characters you would never, ever, ever know unless you read the lore, and even then, it's pretty well hidden. And I can respect that, as opposed to Hollywood, who would just throw it in your face and browbeat you with it. But okay, I'm done. I'm done.
Guardians aren't supposed to investigate their past. That's the rule. But I'm not good with rules. Not when there's this much at stake. The Clovis Bray tech in that building allowed us to colonize the system during the Golden Age. They sought to create peace for all humanity. Which is ironic, because they also built Rasputin, the single most powerful weapon in the solar system. Either way, it's all been entombed on Mars since the collapse. Along with something far more terrifying.
Again, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for Anna
Mars,
Bray,
the first place where humanity encountered the Traveler, home to the Clovis Bray Research Facility and lost wonders of the Golden Age. The ice caps have kept those wonders hidden for hundreds of years. But the return of the Traveler's light has sounded an alarm heard throughout the system, and perhaps beyond.
light. As I was saying, if it wasn't for Anna Bray and Zavala, and I had to deal with Rasputin and Rasputin alone, I would hate this expansion more than I already do. Again, it's bearable. It's not bad, per se. It's just, I really hate Rasputin. Get used to me saying that. I'm going to say it many, many more times. Especially when we actually deal with him. Oh, speaking of, I remember earlier... Well, hold on. I'm pretty sure we're about to get either another cutscene or more dialogue. But I'll explain one of the many reasons why I hate him.
Gaull's forces, what remains of them, have been scavenging during their retreat. And now that warsats are falling out of orbit near Mars, the Cabal are headed there too. I'll plot a landing course. That's the private Vanguard channel.
Mayday! Do you copy? Vanguard access code 0306. Get away from my ghost, you frozen! Guardian, requesting backup. I repeat, I need backup down here.
This frequency is reserved for official Vanguard business. So look, whoever this is...
That's cute. You've got one of the uptight ghosts.
Uptight?
I'm uploading coordinates to a safe landing zone. Please hurry.
All right, but you're going to owe us for this one.
I wouldn't have called you down here unless it was absolutely critical. The most dangerous weapon in this system is on this planet, and an entire army of Hive is trying to destroy it. I need your help.
There's the pyramids again. Excuse me. It just kind of amazes me that they actually kept the pyramids in for the expansions, because you would think it would just been a complete blanket, like, oh, the pyramids are here, present time, but in the expansion, it's happening in the past, so they won't be there. But no, they still are. So it's a little jarring to see them.
We've touched down on the surface of Mars, Guardian. What's your status? Are you safe?
For now. But there's a whole lot of not safe between us and the Clovis Bray facility, which is where we need to be.
What's so important there?
Warsats, like the one that almost hit you on approach, have been dropping out of the sky since I got here. Which usually means only one thing.
Rasputin? The greatest weapon of the Golden Age you were talking about. But that's impossible.
Nothing is impossible where Rasputin is concerned. Meet me at the facility.
So, yeah. I'll wait a little bit because something's about to happen here in a minute. Just keep the name in mind. Fellwinter. I know, ironic, but Fellwinter. Speaking of ironic, I remember the first time I did this expansion, I was woefully under-leveled. And these things were red sword enemies. Either, I can't remember the actual tier. I just know Skull means they will essentially one-shot you and you can do nothing to them. I think 3 red swords mean they're extremely difficult. 1 red sword is just difficult. And then I think there might be 1 more below that. Again, don't remember. All I do know is that when I was first here, they were destroying me. I had to be extremely sneaky fighting them. Snipers, one-shot weapons, homing rockets, just all that stuff. And even then, it was barely able to keep up. Oh, nice dodge. See you do it again.
I've never seen hide like this before.
As far as I know, they don't exist anywhere but here.
Also, you probably can't tell, but I have a new skin for my Bad Omens. I ended up getting it from a random engram from Eververse once I hit rank 315, I believe. Fun fact, you can actually open the packages without going all the way to the tower. I didn't know that. You can just go to the store in your menu, and it does the exact same thing. I did not know that, and that's great to know, because it'll save me a trip, kind of. I mean, it's kind of a moot point if you need to go to the tower anyway, but I still think that's nice. Don't know how aim assist let me down there. Thing was right on me. But that's also why I carry this sidearm. Need to see if I can get a better one. Though I don't think it'll matter too much because the expansion is coming out in a few days. So I'm pretty sure I'll just get a new sidearm from that. Especially since almost everything is being sunsetted, which is one of the Bungie could have ever done, and a lot of people are wanting you to just, you know, accept it. You know, it's no big deal. You can just bring your basic low-level stuff to the vanilla content, and you'll be just fine. Blah blah blah. Yeah, you say that, but as I was just saying, you really think the light level is not going to go even higher? So, say for example, your level 100. 1100 or 1060 weapon someday won't be doing no damage at all against red skull enemies or red sword enemies. So that argument doesn't work. It's just basically their way of telling you to shut up and deal with it. Now in Crucible, those same people are usually the ones who live in the Crucible who say that. In Crucible is not that big of a deal, since in the Crucible, for the most part, your weapons get nerfed anyway. So yeah, if you live and breathe and eat and crap Crucible, then yeah, I imagine Sudsending isn't a very big deal for you. But for us in PvE, it is somewhat of a big deal. Because remember that Kindled Orchid that I showed you? Like arguably my favorite hand cannon, second only to the Ace of Spades, is going to be next to useless in this upcoming expansion. I can still kill things with it, but because of sunsetting, sooner or later, it's going to just fall off. It won't be able to keep up anymore, even in PvE, unless Bungie finds a way around that. And
I think it might be time to call in help from the Vanguard.
Not a great idea. Zavala won't be happy about us digging around Bray. He wants the past to stay buried. But we need to get in there to find out what's going on with Rasputin.
But if that was the case, then why would we be sunsetting in the first place? So, I don't like Rasputin, don't like sunsetting.
What was that?
This is pretty much going to be the complaining expansion, I guess. Exotics, allegedly, last I heard anyway, are going to be immune to sunsetting. One person told me, from when I was doing a little research, told me they are going to get sunsetted, but I've heard, out of that one, I've heard at least 2 or 3 cases where they're not. So I'm inclined to believe they're not going to get sunsetted, which is great. That means I don't have to worry about my Ace of Spades ever falling off. But I do plan 100% to carry this thing with me everywhere I go. Roll, that should have been a headshot. Yeah, like that. As far as I know, I don't believe the aim assist goes up when you have Memento Mori, but I do notice I nail my headshots a bit more. So either it does, and no one has mentioned that, or I'm just feeling 200% motivated whenever I have Memento Mori. You decide. Also, yeah, don't worry about that eye up there. As disturbing as it is to have some kind of ethereal eye from another dimension just stare at you, I can't do anything to it.
Still with me?
And it doesn't do anything to me.
Where to next?
We've found a Golden Age research facility buried inside a glacier. Where do you think? Meet me at the entrance to Clovis Bray.
Hey, you made it.
Actually, yes. We did.
Well, there were a lot of them. But you did great. Come on, let's see what's hiding in here. Besides hordes and hordes of frozen hive, I mean.
And yeah, in case it wasn't obvious, Anna Bray is a hunter, which probably explains how she got in that little cubby, even though I was staring right at it. Yes, so, while we're loading into the world, Fellwinter, now, again, you don't have to believe me, I promise you it's true, I have no reason to lie about it. I really did come up with a backstory for my own Exo that was once human, and then later part Vex. Both of those just so happened to be true. That was pure coincidence. But this I didn't make up. I didn't claim this, for those who don't believe me. But Fellwinter is the legitimate son. Again, I don't think this is ever mentioned in this expansion. I only found this out when I was doing research on the Iron Lords, because it doesn't tell you too much in Destiny 1. You have to, again, research it. But Fellwinter is the legitimate and only heir to Rasputin. Fellwinter has the unique honor, and it would explain why he's so emotionless, because despite Exos being machines, by the way, the full term is actually Exo Mind, but it's been shortened to Exos. But the thing with Exos is that it's actually extremely rare, despite the fact that they're machines. They're really humans in machine bodies, but machines, to have no emotion or little emotion. In all honesty, Exos have just as much emotion as an actual person. Case in point, Cade. So with Fellwinter, though, he is really cold and ruthless to anything that's not on his side. But at the exact same time, he can also be very logical and compassionate, just not very openly compassionate. Like, he'll do the dirty deed if it spares someone else's hands from being dirty. He's that kind of person. So it does kind of make sense then why he's like one of the coldest of Exos, because he is the only Exo that was never human.
Clear a path while I try to find a way into Clovis Bray.
We've encountered Warminds before, but Ikora said Rasputin was trapped on Earth.
Rasputin is capable of operating across multiple systems simultaneously.
So all those times the Vanguard was trying to talk to him in the Cosmodrome.
They were engaging fragments of Rasputin left behind after the collapse, but his core mind was always here.
Yeah, so again, Fellwinter is the only son, to Rasputin. So I'm not like, oh, my Exo is the second coming of the Rasputin lineage. No. But Fellwinter is the only heir to Rasputin, and as I said, he's the only one who has never been human. He really is completely machine, but he's in the form of an Exo to help him blend in better. I don't exactly remember why Rasputin created him. I just know that not too long after making him, and this is really interesting, but I guess it's, within fair game, considering the fact that not only is the Traveler a machine itself, it is also para-casual in nature, so I guess it's fair. But even though Rasputin is 100% machine, he is still a Guardian. He can still use the light despite being a machine, so it's not like you need a living soul or something in order to use the light. Apparently even machines can do it if the Traveler so desires to choose you. Or at least I believe. No, he definitely was. I'll say I believe he was, but no. Fellwinter definitely was, because he was a Void Walker. He specialized in that subclass. So yeah, even though Fellwinter, I might have said Rasputin there, even though Fellwinter was a complete machine, he could still use the light, which is extremely curious. But yeah, so again, only child that Rasputin ever had. I don't remember why he created him. I think it was just to spy on people, essentially. And then, I believe around the time Rasputin, Fellwinter became a Guardian, Rasputin wanted to kill him, I believe, because he couldn't control him or something, which is really strange, because from what I understand with the lore, which is also kind of strange, it doesn't really go into it, is that Rasputin, the way it's worded seems like if Rasputin so desired, he can or could at one point completely mind jack the Exos, because it's mentioned that, oh, hold on.
I'm here. I'm really here. I can't believe it. Clovis Bray. I'm home. The main access is encrypted. Good thing I know a few tricks. At least that seems to run in the family.
Personnel identified, Dr. Anastasia Bray. Welcome to the Clovis Bray Research Facility, the fabled cradle of invention on Mars. You are part of an important moment in history. Together, we will strive to reach beyond the stars. Remember, you are Clovis Bray.
And we're in business.
That's something I did forget. I can't bring up Ghost and he'll do a little summary. They're not usually as funny as reading the actual mission objective itself, but
looks like Rasputin's core is housed in a separate structure. Hope you're up for a little exploring.
Again, I'm a hunter. I love to explore. So, as I was saying with Fellwinter, well, actually the Exos as a whole, is the lore doesn't quite go into it. So it is possible that I'm wrong. But it alludes to the fact that
this facility is massive.
The Brays dreamed big. I don't know much about my family, but I know that.
It alludes to the fact that it seemed like Rasputin could puppeteer the Exos if he so desired. So, and that wouldn't really surprise me, considering the fact that Exos...
I'm picking up a lot of hive activity. They're swarming the core.
On it. Let me try to access the security systems.
Considering the fact the Exos were created to fight some long-forgotten war, this was obviously way before Guardians were a thing, so the Exos were needed to fight some war. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if that was possible for Rasputin to just mind-jack the Exos and use them as a puppeteering army. But I say that to say I find that interesting because Rasputin again created Fellwinter, but I guess lost control of him when he became a Guardian. That's the only explanation I can think of. And yeah. And that's just one of the many atrocities Rasputin has done.
Security systems?
I'm working on it. Hang in there.
See how cheap that was? That is an... And then it still hits me. That is an excellent example. Out of all the ones I've mentioned before, that is the most perfect example I've seen of how... I'm trying really hard not to swear here. Of how BS the Acolyte's grenades are. It is so stupid. I'm actually glad that was in the recording, because I believe I mentioned that in, like, the Red War, or at least in... Yeah, it had to have been the Red War.
Big problem.
Come on, Rasputin. Give me something here.
Ah, forgot about that.
It's the Valkyrie. Rasputin's weapon. I think he heard us.
Yeah, that was nice. Thanks, Rasputin. Just another reason why I hate you. Well, let me open the door until I pick this up. So, I was waiting to talk about this. This is the Valkyrie. A pretty awesome weapon. It's basically, not basically, they're different, but to categorize it, it's similar to the Scorch Cannon in the sense that they both do solar damage. And this isn't a weapon you can just use. You can only pick it up on Mars and only during these little, I'm not even sure what these are. Spawn points, I guess. Can't call them vents, though they do remind me of one. So you can basically throw it like a javelin, or you can slam it into the ground, which, by the way, Anna Bray does encourage you to try in one of her bounties. Usually, I hate getting the Valkyrie bounties, because again, you can't just use this weapon. You only get it under certain circumstances, like what we're doing right now. Oh, perfect. And for those of you who might disagree with me on that, say, no, you can use one as a finisher. Not really, because you have to remember, for the finishers that do things like that, it's just you shaping your light into the Valkyrie. Or who knows, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you actually do get to use kind of the Valkyrie as a finisher. Maybe it's some kind of chip or something, but as far as using it like this,
the door's unlocked.
Can only do it here.
It wasn't me. Maybe he's inviting us inside. Maybe this is where questions finally turn into answers.
Uh-oh.
Hello, Guardian.
Oh, Shanks.
What do you think you're doing? Do you have any idea how dangerous this thing is?
What were you trying to do to Rasputin?
Rasputin is Vanguard business, Anastasia, not yours. You do not belong here.
I beg your pardon?
You belonged in the city. But instead of standing by your brothers and sisters when Gaul came for us, you were here, doing what you always do. What you were never supposed to do.
I did what I believed to be right. I came here to protect humanity. Isn't that what Guardians are supposed to do? This is a war of many fronts, and there's more than one way to fight it, Zavala. Look, You tried to shield the entire world, but you can't. There's got to be a better way.
And you think Rasputin is the answer? It's gone silent. It's a broken weapon. Too dangerous to be left alone and too unpredictable to wield.
That might be true. Or maybe he has nothing to say. Maybe, just maybe, we never bothered to ask him what he wanted.
I don't have time to go through this with you again. You had no right.
I have every right. You don't understand the connection I share with Rasputin. Here, let me show you.
Okay. We should really figure out exactly what's doing that.
I can tell you. Rasputin was not the only thing to awaken on Mars.
I like that little cutscene there for many reasons, but just so happens because I'm playing as an Exo, I do like how all three of the races were there. But here's something else about Anna Bray. As I told you earlier, how well written virtually all the characters in this game are. Notice how she shot Zavala down, but didn't kick him in the throat while he was down. She's basically like, I know you've tried your best. I know what you're doing, or what you tried to do, and go on and so forth. She basically sympathized with what he's doing, and she agreed, like, yeah, you tried, but we got to do more. Instead of just, no, you were wrong. What I'm doing is even better. No, I said I'd stop doing that, but I couldn't help myself, because that's an excellent example of what that kind of dynamic should be. Like, if the guy is wrong, then tell him he's wrong, but don't just rail on him. At least explain what you're doing as well, or how your way is better. And again, she didn't do that. She just said there's another way. There's more to it than just shielding the city. We can also do this. But saying all that, the one thing I don't like about Anna Bray, and this is literally the one thing, well, there's two actually, but this is the more significant one, is she either does not know about the dark things Rasputin has done, and I hope in future expansion she does, because I would love for her to stop rooting for Rasputin as much as she's been doing. Or, and this is worse, she does know and is just accepting of that. Because again, Rasputin has done some, I would say, borderline evil things. So I'm hoping she actually doesn't know. But I do, at the same time, I hope that if she doesn't know, someday she will. Because I'm generally curious what her reaction will be.
Up? I thought we were done for. And then Rasputin, I didn't know if he would answer. I mean, I hoped he would, but you never know with him. That javelin, though? Wow. That's one hell of a confirmation. But the real problem is Zol. The Hive became what they are today by making dark pacts with worm gods. Zol is one of those gods. I've been talking to Zavala, and he has an idea. Something that Zol won't be able to resist. Problem is, that something is in the EDZ, and everyone wants it. Let me know if you find any Golden Age tech out there.
Yeah, so I barely touched on this in the Red War when it came to the Hive. But as she said, I've seen how many people were out there. If there was enough, I would bother to do that event, but I'm not. I don't need to. Anyway, they made Dark Pact with Worm Gods, and I lightly touched on it, so I'll elaborate a bit more. And that is, the pact they made with the Worm Gods makes them effectively immortal in the terms that they don't age, they don't get sick, that kind of thing. But the drawback is, I'm going here first to see if Devon K has anything I can do while I'm doing this, is that the the worms inside the Hive feed on death, as strange as that sounds, in the sense that they have to kill to not only feed the worm, but power themselves up so that they can change and evolve. Like a thrall becomes an acolyte, and then the acolyte will either become a knight or a wizard, and that kind of thing. If they don't feed their worm, the worm will devour them from the inside out. Of course, the Hive weren't happy about that once they found that out, so some of them have been trying to find ways to work around that. to little success. I would say the one that probably comes the closest is one known as Nokris. He's one of the few male wizards, and he specializes in necromancy, which the Hive frown upon, because the Hive believe in the sword logic, which is basically survival of the fittest. The strongest will survive, that kind of thing. So the Hive see it as, if you die, you essentially deserved it because you were weak. So if you deserve to die because you were weak and then brought back to life, that goes against their sword logic. So they despise necromancy, so much so that Oryx, who is the father of Nokris, actually banished him, erased his name from the annals of Hive history, in fact. So it goes against their very religion, so of course they're going to hate him for it. But again, that's just the tip of the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg when dealing with the Hive. The lore in this game is amazing. It really is. You should just Destiny Wiki anything I'm talking about, and you'll see why it's so good. I just wish it was more present in the game, because I guarantee if it was, I would say probably like 5 times as much people would play this game. Not to say it's not being played a lot, it's just some people come for the gameplay, some people come from the story, and when the story is so bare-boned, especially in Destiny 1 with the Grimmer cards, you need to have really good gameplay, which this game has, but a nice story would also help it out.
Come now, speak your mind.
Which again, it has, is just hidden. I'm not doing that one because that means I have to take off the Celestial Nighthawk. That'll take too long. This one might be doable.
A good choice. Stay low and move quietly.
I'll just have to spam my bad omens. And as I was saying, while I was doing this expansion, this mission specifically was also really hard for me, because I was so under-leveled. And I'm not sure, I don't think Masterwork gear was a thing back when I did this. And if it was, I definitely didn't have any. Also, sorry I took so long to get into this. I've been meaning to do it, I just got distracted with everything else. I was actually going to play this yesterday, like I said I was, but I got caught up. First, I took a break. Then I hopped on, because you got to remember now, I'm being able to play decently again after having 2 weeks of no Wi-Fi, so I'm trying to play all the games that I have subscriptions to so I don't miss out. So I took a break, then I hopped on Final Fantasy to catch up on that, and while I was there, I was helping out some FC members and new friends and randoms, and that took about 2 or 3 hours, and then by the time I finished that, it was around 10 o'clock, and that's usually when I get a little sleepy. And because of my insomnia, I try to go to sleep early so I'm not up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and then fall asleep just to wake up at 6. So, not saying that's an excuse, I'm just saying that's what happened. And as far as the next expansion, I was waiting for them to say something. As far as the next expansion,
we need something to draw out
of course.
Something worth feeding on.
I'm not sure I want to know what a monster god feeds on.
Power. And we've intercepted Red Legion transmissions about a new fragment of the Traveler that splintered off during Gaul's assault. Zol won't be able to resist its light.
Yeah, go figure. I give them all that time, then they speak up. Anyway, as I was saying, that's just what happened. I was going... Now, the next expansion, I want to do tonight. I honestly do, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. And I can't really do it tomorrow either, because tomorrow
They're jamming me.
The Taken? Are they after the fragment?
It doesn't matter. Clear them out.
Yeah, right. Because tomorrow I have to go with my dad and help him do some things. And then that Thursday night, I almost said clan. My FC is going to be doing Treasure Thursdays, where we do treasure maps, and I love to do that. It's my favorite activity to do with my FC. So I'm going to be doing that, and then that can range anywhere between finishing around, say, 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock in the morning or something. So chances are I'm not going to do that, and hopefully the Wi-Fi will still be good, and I'll do it on Friday. And Friday actually works because one, as far as I know, I'll be free, and two, the expansion, little hint for those who know what I'm talking about, happens to start with the same letter. So I'm going to try to do that Friday. Today we're just going to worry about this one. That's a little trick there. You can actually stop them from doing their little shield blast if you hit them with a weapon strong enough to stun them, like that.
These blights are outputting a huge amount of dark energy. My sensors can't detect the fragment with all this noise.
Get rid of them.
Yeah, so I was saying, you can stun those guys if you shoot them, preferably in the leg, when they raise their shield up to blast you. The only downside is that won't work if they have the iron buff on, which keeps them from staggering. Those things are taken hobgoblins. Pretty sure I mentioned those before, but in case I didn't, they have revenge bolts. Those are basically what the Destiny 1 Shriekers had once you killed them, except the Taken Hobgoblins are fewer and they move much faster. And if a Taken Hobgoblin is a overloaded Taken Hobgoblin, basically it means that every single bullet you shoot at it is going to counterattack with those bolts, and it will rip you in half unless you have overload rounds to stop it. So again, the Taken are just beyond obnoxious. Taken Captain essentially has a Nova Bomb, except instead of doing ridiculous damage when it hits you, it just blinds you. The Taken Acolytes, I believe, are, again, they're kind of like the Wizards in the sense that their normal form is much more annoying because that lock-on grenade they have, as I showed a bit earlier. But the Taken Acolytes, they basically just make shadowy eyes that work as turrets that, again, aren't as dangerous as they were in Destiny 1. In Destiny 1, they were like legit turrets, just rapid-firing shots. In this one, they fire about 2 or 3, and then there's a pause. Well, I'd say 3. I believe it is actually 3. And as I showed right there, you can stop the bolts from the Hobgoblins if you shoot them before they have the chance to summon it. Taken Vandals create their own version of the Ward of Dawn, but you can puncture it if you have anti-barrier rounds. Which is usually what you want to use on barrier champions. Barrier champions are effectively unkillable unless you use high caliber weapons, like your team group shoots them with rocket launchers, or in my case I do something as simple as this. And overload champions are the exact same way. They can be taken out fairly easily if you damage them fast enough. They both regenerate health though, so that can be annoying. The barrier champions regenerate it a bit better because they throw up a barrier that is completely impregnable unless you have anti-barrier rounds. So you want to kill them before they throw down their barrier. And as I mentioned with the Overload Hobgoblin, it also regenerates health, but specifically the Overload Taken Hobgoblins are dangerous because of their revenge attack. But again, a single shot to the head with my super is enough to take them out.
The fragment is nearby, but the readings are inconsistent with other pieces of the Traveler.
The only one...
Zavala, assuming this fragment-based plan works, how do you expect to take down Zol without Rasputin?
I won't have this discussion again.
I can tell you, without a doubt, Rasputin is the only way to stop Zol. We need the Valkyrie.
We've won against impossible odds before, without Rasputin.
See, and I like that right there. I'm going to stop here before they start talking again. is I like how Zavala shot her down this time, and she didn't continue to press the issue. Like, no, 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 I'm right. We need the Valkyrie. And in all honesty, you really don't, because as strong as the Valkyrie is, you have to remember it's still just a Golden Age weapon, while Guardians have the light, which is much more effective than any Golden Age weapon. So technically speaking, we don't actually need the Valkyrie. But even then, like I said, Anna didn't continue to press on her point. She actually knew when to just let it go for now. This is also something I didn't mention, but those little darkness wells the Taken are in is usually those dastards up there too. They like to be inside those Taken blights, and the Taken blights usually, not all of them, but usually have a shield, so any Taken inside of it won't be damaged. You have to go inside the shield to damage them, but obviously that's usually a bad idea, especially on something like a high difficulty Nightfall.
Taken have projected some kind of shield around the fragment.
Because of Taken phalanxes, which again, they're usually the ones inside the bubble, and they will not leave. You kind of have to bait them to come out.
I don't think we can get through.
There might still be a warsat left in Earth's orbit. Let me see if I can adjust its trajectory.
Yeah, and much like the Cabal ship crashing down.
Stay where you are. I'm using your position to lock on with the warsat.
Understood.
I like how Ghost isn't really all that phased about it, because I'm not saying this one can kill us, but when it comes to events and patrols, or events rather, the Warsat can absolutely kill you if you are in the blast radius. And even if you're outside the blast radius, bare minimum, it'll knock you sideways. So that's why I'm kind of surprised Ghost isn't like, are you sure? That sounds kind of dangerous. Because that would have been a nice nod to Destiny 1, where, and again, it happens in Destiny 2 too, where if you're too close to where the Warsat touched down, it's going to kill you. Since we're going down the list of Taken, I might as well mention them again. The Taken phalanxes like to split, which is as annoying as it sounds. I think it was worse in Destiny 1 though. It's still pretty bad here. And my Celestial Nighthawk actually comments on that for a little bit, which is interesting. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I talked about that. The Taken Knights are pretty annoying too. They love to literally spit fire. I'm half surprised I got that because of all that shaking.
Requesting orbital support.
All that shaking and the bright light. Yeah, see? And that's different than an actual Warsat landing. It's not that bad.
Anna, how did you get it to fire?
I asked him. Rasputin was created to help humanity. He listens to me.
This time the Warmind listened. But are you ready to shoulder the burden the day it doesn't?
See?
Guardian, secure the piece of the Traveler and get back to Mars. It is time to go to war with a god.
Now, eventually, I guess she's still debating it, but Anna Bray could have just said, yeah, of course I am, but no, she actually went silent, and that's to give the player, give us the, oh, she actually is thinking about it, because that would be a pretty heavy burden. Because she says Rasputin was created to help humanity, and he was, but Rasputin, much like any self-evolving AI, sooner or later will start to do shady things to protect humanity. And Rasputin has killed many people for reasons I still don't fully comprehend in his mind to protect humanity. Like when the darkness was coming, it was actually warned pretty early about that, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, can't remember, Rasputin wanted to keep that quiet. You know, the darkness, the thing that destroyed, almost wiped out all of humanity, the one that crippled and silenced or killed even the Traveler before it came back to life in the Red War. That darkness, we actually got early warnings of that, and instead of being able to do something about it, Rasputin thought it'd be a better idea to silence everyone who knew. And since they wouldn't turn over their recordings and research, Rasputin just had them killed. And one of his trademark ways, by throwing a Warsat at them. So he did that. And then, lo and behold, when the darkness gets here and Rasputin can do bugger all to it, he goes dark. So humanity has to deal with it itself. Then, when the Iron Lords started to bring back peace and prosperity after the Traveler had created the Risen, and some of those Risen became... Oh, hold on. Some of those Risen became warlords, which is basically selfish, borderline evil guardians. Not all of them. Some notable exceptions are Fellwinter and, believe it or not, Shax. But typically they were corrupt guardians that just use their power selfishly. You know, I can kill you if I so desire, so you better give me your stuff, that kind of thing. So while the Iron Lords brought peace and prosperity by shutting that down, when they tried to unlock the secrets of Siva to better help humanity recover from the Dark Age, Rasputin thought it was a good idea to kill them all, especially when Fellwinter was there, someone he wanted to kill anyway. So I freaking hate Rasputin. I hate him so much. You'd have to pause that if you wanted to read it. I only saw it for a second. I heard something growling, and I didn't want to get hit. Because if it hit me, I would have came out the menu and I would have killed it, and that would have wasted more time. On the bright side, this expansion is going by pretty fast. Faster than I thought, even. So, I might have been wrong. It might actually be shorter than the Curse of Osiris. Because we're already fighting Zol. And from what I remember, once we defeat him, that's pretty much the end of the expansion. There's some strikes and Mars and stuff like that. I believe, to me anyway, it feels like it offered more than the Curse of Osiris. But if we're really about to finish this, then I was absolutely wrong. Trial of Osiris, keep doing that. Curse of Osiris really is longer than this one. I guess I just felt it was shorter because Mercury is so bare bones.
Place where this godworm feeds, we can use the Traveler's fragment to draw out Zol.
I've been running some scans. There's a cavern that intersects with one of Zol's tunnels.
Zavala, listen to me. I've studied the logs. Rasputin was barely able to stop Zol the first time.
Guardians, I'm getting some kind of interference. I can't make sense of it.
I hear it too. Give me a minute to analyze the signal. Maybe I can figure out what it is.
Actually, I think we're like 2 or 3 missions away from finishing, because I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, Nokris, we actually have to deal with him. And then, of course, once we deal with him, we'll have to deal with Zol. So, unless he only appears in the strike, we do have to deal with Nokris. Actually, he makes yet another appearance later, because, again, the Hive, the Ascendant Hive anyway.
The interference is getting worse, but I'm starting to pick up a pattern. Do you hear it, Anna?
I'll need more data to be sure. But yeah, I'm thinking it might be an encoded message.
The Ascendant Hive, anyway, are effectively immortal. You can only really... Basically, the Ascendant Hive have their own dimension called the Ascendant Realm.
Surging with energy. They must be using them to gather power to feed Zol.
They have their own separate dimension called the Ascendant Realm, and basically in the Ascendant Realm, they use that to hide their death. The best way I mean, if that already wasn't well explained, another way I could explain it is, you remember how incredibly broken the Sharingan is from Naruto? Like, the Rinnegan's pretty amazing too, but, I mean, I guess technically it is better because it also could do this, I guess, but...
The energy in this relic is volatile. Try throwing it at the crystal.
But it's more related to the Sharingan than it is to the Rinnegan.
Looks like the Hive have been busy down here.
Keep going. According to scans, there's a large chamber where all the tunnels intersect. That makes it the most likely spot for Zol's feeding ground.
Yeah, so, getting back on track here. It's more associated with the Sharingan than the Rinnegan, even though you would think the Rinnegan should be able to do it, since it's just an evolved Sharingan, unless that power is locked away to make room for the Rinnegan. But anyway, the ability, I don't remember the name, but slight spoiler here for those who don't want to know, just skip ahead like 2 minutes. But you remember
Look at the
Danzo?
size of these tunnels. Zol must be immense.
Meaning Zol is stronger than we thought.
All the more reason to take it down now.
Yeah, Danzo, everyone's favorite Naruto character. Well, he has this arm full of Sharingans, and what he does is, while fighting Sasuke, he essentially cheats by rewriting reality to where, say for example, if you shot him in the head, despite that being, you know, an instantaneous death, he would undo his death. It's kind of like rewinding time, except only rewinding time for himself. Like, time itself will still flow normally, but he'll just rewind time to 5 seconds before he was shot in the head. It'd be something like that. That's how the Ascendant Realm works. In the sense that... try to get this guy. In the sense that as long as you have an Ascendant Realm, you can be killed indefinitely. You can be killed and come back indefinitely. Your death will not be permanent so long as you have one. So the only way to kill Ascendant Hive is to not only kill them in the physical realm, but then kill them in their Ascendant realm. I really hate this fighting wizards. I was gonna save this, but I was waiting for her to shoot me because wizards love to dodge, especially slow firing things like rockets. But a surefire way to nail them, unfortunately, is to trade with them. They will not and cannot dodge while they're shooting. So that's actually the best time to hit them. You try to group all these guys together. Yeah, that's right, come on. Yeah, that was good. I see your little head.
They were chanting in an archaic form about a priest, Nokris, and how he was labeled a heretic.
What could possibly qualify as heretical for the Hive?
Something about resurrection.
Yeah. So I kind of already explained some of that, but yeah. They do not smile kindly on resurrection because, again... Now, the thing about the Ascendant Realm, on the other hand, I guess it's kind of like saying you have earned the right to be immortal, or it helps you, you know, solidify that you are the strongest because you cannot be killed. Of course, you can be. I already explained to you how it can happen, but it's relatively difficult. But even then, an Ascendant Realm is not the same thing as straight-up necromancy, where Nokris can revive any hive. Thralls, acolytes, ogres,
another offering for Zol.
Those things don't have Ascendant Realms. So, like I said, these people here, these hives, they're actually with, I don't know why I call them people. These hives that work for Nokris, or side with Nokris, whatever you want to call it, obviously don't care about that, because despite a name like the Hive, honestly, the Vex should be called the Hive. Even though the Vex are pretty vexing, the Vex are more like a Hive in the sense that they really do have a hive mind, where there's like anywhere between 1 or 3 major Vex. Allegedly, they have minds the size of planets. So let's just say there's about 3 or 5 of them. And then the rest are just, you know, like limbs of those minds. They're much more hive-like than the actual hive, because as I just told you, some of the hive are okay with being resurrected. I'm pretty sure they would be when they see that they'll never ever reach the Ascended Realm. Nice. But yeah, this mission is to take care of Nokris.
The feeding ground is right below us.
I've decoded the interference pattern. Akka, Ire, Yule, Those are names, Guardian. Ancient, powerful names. This is more...
Anna!
Something else I neglected to mention, the reason why I guess that this expansion felt longer than Osiris, the Curse of Osiris, is that, like I said, the other one on Mars, or Mercury, is so bare-boned. There is so much to do on Mars. To this day, there's still people doing things on Mars, as opposed to Mercury is pretty much the event, if you need to do it for a bounty. Maybe some of Brother Vance's stuff in order to get simulation seeds, which is the material of that world. And then that's it. There's not too much to do there. But on Mars, there are still some things to this day I haven't done. Mostly because I haven't focused on them, but there's much more to do on Mars. So even if the expansion is shorter, it definitely offers more. Also, it's pretty late. Nah, I'll save that for that expansion.
That's not Zol.
Provided I remember. I would have been mad if that Thrall, when it jumped 20 feet into the air, actually blocked my shot. But you see, basically when I shot him, he immediately became immune. I'm pretty sure I could have one-shot him if I had played my cards better, like shot a rocket, then shot him. I'm pretty sure that would have done it. But this is fine. I pretty much plan to do the same thing to Zol, but Zol's going to be a bit harder to hit. Something special for you. Now, see, Sheldon Knocker is dying there to the point where his freaking skull is still here, but he's actually not dead. Because Nokris does have an Ascendant Realm. Make sure I didn't bug this out. Yep. I think I might have moved too early. Or because I killed him too fast. Yeah, the gate is still making noises as if it's activated. See, I didn't do that. I jumped into it. But it's the one pushing me back. I'm gonna go down here and try this again. I'm gonna be actually mad if I got locked out just because I killed Nocris too fast. See, I'm looking at these because they're supposed to be broken. I don't think he has a chance to go through all 6 of them. He does in the actual strike, usually. And I'm wondering why Ghost stopped doing what he was doing just because I did this. That's not supposed to happen. That's annoying. Well, I think I know how to fix it. Give me a second. Of course, the one time I would actually want the Darkness Falls thing is not here. Yeah, I have to do the entire thing again, just because I got locked out. Remember that video I told you all about how I said Destiny is a funny game? Remember what happened in that video? This one makes me think of how flawless and perfect it is. Now, according to this, I have a checkpoint. It better be in the boss room, or at least right outside of it. But yeah, it makes me think, you know, perfectly flawless game. Of course, my criticism will all depend on where this checkpoint is. I actually forgot we actually get checkpoints, because that usually doesn't happen. So I didn't even think about that. But if this checkpoint is relatively close, then fine. I'll forgive it. They somewhere thought either there's an off chance something like this might happen, or more likely it was just simply a checkpoint. Hey, you died, or your power went out, or whatever. So here's a checkpoint. So I'm not gonna, you know, tear them a new one for that. But that is still a bit annoying. Just because I did too much damage, the game broke. I mean, I know it's called like Celestial, yeah, I'm pretty much in the boss room. Right here, Hawkeye hat. Like, I know it's called that, but come on. Alright, let's do this again. I'll just hold my DPS. That shouldn't matter. Because again, Ghost. But now that I know I'm in the boss room, this does give me a bit of a chance to experiment. Oh, by the way, Nocris is pretty annoying to fight. Yeah, that would have been bad. Because, as you can see, one, he's a wizard, so it goes without saying he's going to be annoying. But more specifically, is that when you're fighting Nocris on the Nightfall, especially on Hero and above, he is extremely persistent. He is so very annoying. Because one of the things is when he tethers those crystals, he becomes invisible. Or not invisible, invincible. In the first phase, he'll essentially do nothing to you. He'll just, yeah, he will do that later. But he'll essentially do nothing to you. And he'll let his ads do all the fighting. Then the second time, he will actually shoot at you, but it'll be from up there. And then the third time, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know why he was looking that way. Then the third time, he actually will start flying around, completely immune, just like that, while shooting at you with increased damage, as well as being costed by the ads. Specifically, acolytes throwing grenades to flush you out. So, real annoying, real annoying. I know I say that to describe these enemies a lot, but I literally can't think of a better word. It's just annoying to deal with. You got this invincible flying dastard with increased damage, flying and zip zooming around behind cover to kill you because he's a wizard, so of course he can do that. Again, why I said since Destiny 1 even, before Nocris was even a thing, I said wizards were the most annoying enemies. What more proof do you need? Yeah, you better run. Alright, let's see what happens this time. I'm deploying my ghost. I'm not touching anything. I'm not even going to move. Alright, that settles it then. I apparently cannot use my Celestial Nighthawk until he's about to die, because the game cannot handle how much damage I'm dishing out. I would actually find this much more annoying if I had to do the entire mini strike all over again. Thankfully I don't, and I do apologize for making you all have to sit through this. I say you all, but there's no one here, it's just me. But on the bright side, when you go back and watch this in the future, you've seen pretty much the entire fight. It's just pretty much what I explained all over again. So you've pretty much seen the entire fight. All you would have to do is just fast forward to where the cutscene actually plays, or Ghost actually does his job. So thankfully, you all who are not here right now, don't have to suffer through it with me like I am by myself. But it's cool. I'm a loner. I don't mind. If you're wondering, why don't I just take the mask off? It's because, one, I don't like taking the mask off, and two, it's the only mask I have that actually gives me until actually, I guess, no, I can't do it right now, but until I masterwork this mask right here, I won't have 100 in agility or mobility, which is what I want. And the other stats barely change. I still have above 60 defense, which is also very important. My recovery is still in the 30s, which is poor, but not terrible. It's just not good. So, aside from changing my super, there's not much point. And like I said, I have to hold back, apparently. Now, I might not use my super on him at all, just to make 100% sure he doesn't do that again. Not the mission I thought it was, but I should be getting close if that one's finished. Yeah, I guess I'll have to let him break all three in order for it to count. Even though, again, in the strike, you 100% can kill him before he does all three, or 6, whatever. But the thing about that is, that's just the strike. This is a campaign story mission, so I guess that's why it's different. Why I'm not allowed to instantly kill him. I'll have to remember that when I'm fighting Zol. I actually don't remember if that's the attack he does when he's up there or not. Because typically he'll just do the one-handed blast, so I'm actually not sure. But that's what I was talking about when I said he'll attack you while you're being up there while dealing with these. But yeah, I don't remember him doing that. I think, at least in the Nightfall, he still does the singular hand blast, but it does more damage. so he's more likely to kill you with it in fewer shots. I could use my super on him. I'm absolutely still going to do it to Nocris, making me have to run this strike 3 freaking times. I'm just going to make sure not to use it till he's pretty much dead. Nice try. This is also an excellent example of how whenever you're dealing with strikes, typically if there's some kind of unique mechanic you need to do, you'll have to do it while fighting the boss. Like earlier when we killed those knights, several times actually, and through the orb they drop into crystals. That's kind of like a forewarning of, oh yeah, you're going to have to do that later. Surprisingly, he's not coming down from here, so I guess that really is only in the actual strike itself. The wizards are here though, or wizard. Typically on his second phase, he'll summon 2. Now there's only 1. It's getting real annoying, Nocris. There. They're all destroyed. Now it says...
In the center. That's where we can place the fragment.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought. That's so stupid. I didn't crouch, by the way. The game did that. I'm being, like, pressed down by some force. I know, there's no one in my stream.
Guardian, where are you?
Thank the light.
Zol is heading directly for the Clovis Bray facility and Rasputin. If Rasputin dies, the Javelin goes with him. Zol wins.
Very well. And my reservations about the Warmind aren't as important as defeating Zol. We do this together. What do you say, Guardian?
We say it's about time.
Indeed. So, it's almost like the game, or more specifically, the Warmind expansion itself, as if I didn't hate Rasputin enough, was saying, oh, you think I am shorter than the Curse of Osiris expansion? Well, we'll see about that. Let's see how you like doing this fight 3 times. Yeah, this is also a strike, mini strike mission. and I believe it's the last one in the expansion. So I was dead wrong. Like I said, I must have just got Mercury's activities mixed up with Mars's activity, because again, there's much more to do on Mars. I don't know, I said Mars's, whatever. There's much more to do on Mars than is Mercury, so I guess my mind just associated that with the expansion. Again, haven't ran it in a couple of years. But, yeah, I believe this is actually the last mention in the expansion, so I was dead wrong. Curse of Osiris is definitely longer than Warmind. Because we're about to deal with Zol, and then we're going to get a cutscene, and then we're let loose to explore Mars. It's just, there was so much to do on Mars, I must have associated that with the expansion itself, because you got the escalation protocol, you have the weird Rasputin music box chests, then you have ones that are like actually safes, still don't know how to open those. There's a lot to do on Mars, mostly the escalation protocols. Oh, and then there's these little like weird Rasputin Warmind trophy things you're supposed to shoot. I used to know how to do those, but I don't now, so they just kind of sit there.
Zol is tearing apart Rasputin's neural network. And if he does enough damage, he could trigger a chain reaction that will devastate Mars. All I know is we have one advantage left. The Valkyrie.
I'll never trust Rasputin, but we'll need every weapon we have to stop Zol. Even one that's powered by a Warmind.
Now, don't get me wrong, she makes a valid point about the Valkyrie despite her not shutting up about it. Because obviously the Valkyrie is stronger than, say, my Ace of Spades. Doesn't mean I like it more. Absolutely not. But obviously, tick for tack, the Valkyrie is more powerful. So by that standard, yeah, if you could arm every Guardian with a Valkyrie, then yes, why not do that? But at the same time, as powerful as it is, it's still just a man-made weapon, as opposed to the light. So that's why I say we don't, quote-unquote, need the Valkyrie, it just helps. The light, on the other hand, anything short of a Guardian, wouldn't be able to handle it. Anna herself said Rasputin barely stopped Zol the first time. Also, I feel...
If we overload Rasputin's core, we can use the excess energy to overcharge the Valkyrie. I think that's our only chance of really hurting Zol.
Or I could just shoot him like maybe once with my Hawkeye hack and kill him. You know, with the light. That would probably work too. But as I was saying, another thing I hate about Rasputin, despite how shady and basically evil he is that he also seems to have a god complex.
Then hit it with everything you've got.
Thank you, Anna. As I was saying, he also basically has like a god complex, and you'll see what I'm talking about when we actually get there. He's not saying, you know, like on your knees, worship me. Nothing like that. It's just, you'll see. It's the way he talks. You'll see what I mean. People have said to me I'm pretty condescending when I talk. I disagree with that. I can be blunt, extremely sarcastic, but not really condescending. Rasputin is. Or at least, again, much like how people feel I'm that way to them, I feel like he's that way to me. Could be a bit biased, though. I do hate him.
Neural net inhibitor offline. Core power levels rising. Continued fluctuations will result in a critical failure. All personnel are advised to
Something I do find kind of amusing. This might change with the next...
A safe work environment is a happy work environment.
This might change with the next expansion that I run. And even if it does, it won't be a very significant change, but again, I was thinking about, again, nobody's here. Typically that doesn't bother me. I just point it out, you know, to further demonstrate how hard I try to make these entertaining, because it's like, what's the point of talking when there's no one here? I can just play in silence. But no, at least this way, when people go back and watch, it'll give them something to, you know, listen to. But I said all that to say...
That node is giving off strange readings. I need a closer look.
No, not that, Ghost. That's not what I was going to say.
Oh no. With the inhibitor offline, the neural network is going crazy. I'll try to stabilize it. Defend the area.
Yeah, what I was saying was, with the next expansion I run is arguably the best expansion, or if not the best, is at least people's favorite. So I'm guessing I might have more people here. Again, maybe like one. But I said that to say I find it interesting that there was more people that showed up for my test streams for Destiny, the really, really poor, laggy, disconnecting test streams. More people showed up for that, at least like 2, as opposed to the actual streams where I might get 1 or 2 people, and then they leave like 5 minutes later. I say 5 minutes, but that's being generous. It's more like 8 minutes.
Got it.
But just trying to be
Neural
nice.
net is online and ready. Now for the inhibitor vent.
Oh yeah, we're definitely doing this. Something, I didn't say this, but I thought you might have noticed it, especially if
The inhibitor vent is
the
open.
audio is good enough. I know. Is that you can actually charge the Valkyrie, much like you can charge the Scorch Cannon. That's also why I compared the two. So this shot is oddly tricky. There we go.
Core power levels approaching critical overload. Personnel are recommended to evacuate.
Let me also check something real quick, see how that rocket launcher mission is doing. Okay, good. So we're actually done with it. I'll probably mention this again when I do the next expansion, because it's more relevant for a lot of reasons. But something I do find a bit disappointing about the Ace of Spades is that you're not guaranteed a headshot, or not a headshot, that's true for all guns, an explosion, the Firefly proc, from a headshot all the time. I'm pretty sure I've gotten that in my stream at some point, but the description says it as if it happens all the time, meaning you're guaranteed to get that. It was kind of hard to notice because of the cursed thrall, but and that one wasn't a headshot. But there have been times where I get a headshot. It's very clearly a headshot because the yellow numbers appear. Very clearly a headshot, but I don't get the explosion. And again, it's not that big of a deal, but it would be nice if they perfected my favorite gun in the entire game.
Great work. Get to the core before it goes critical. It's time to forge a new Valkyrie.
Because again, it doesn't really matter in duels, but when you're dealing with this, it would be nice if I got headshots. Yeah, headshots, sure, but the Firefly proc reliably. I knew that one wasn't going to be a headshot because as soon as I pulled it out, it started to float up.
All right. I need you to throw the Valkyrie into the core and
The
force the
gun,
full
people, I'm
meltdown.
talking about the gun. And the Hive Wizard. You know, I was thinking about it. It's something that actually dawned on me a few weeks ago, maybe last week. I told you before, the most annoying missions I find to do involve the Valkyrie because one, you're not being Rasputin, and two, you only really get them from those vents. And you'd rather not waste a Valkyrie key, I guess I'll call it, to summon the weapon. You would rather save that for escalation protocols. So a workaround I thought up was I might as well just do the strike, the Will of the Thousands, because you're guaranteed to get a Valkyrie. I just have to make sure I get it, or you, if you're the one with the bounty. Just make sure you pick it up so you can get the kills. Otherwise, you pretty much run this entire thing for nothing. Or virtually nothing.
Valkyrie is surging with energy far beyond
Also,
what my sensors are capable of analyzing.
yeah, it is a Warmind. It is the most second advanced thing humanity has ever had to deal with, only being beat out by the Traveler itself. So again, I'm not denying it's a powerful weapon, but like I said, it's still just a weapon. light is so much more than just a weapon. But as I was saying, with that's my workaround for that, is just do this strike instead of waiting around for a patrol, or I keep calling them patrols, events that might not happen, not only because you have to wait on them, but sometimes you'll have blueberries, that's random player in Destiny speak. Blueberries will randomly start an escalation protocol which will delay the event. So yeah, I would say it's better to do this. Fun fact, you can actually damage him a bit. As you see by the numbers there, you can actually damage him a bit while he's doing that.
So powerful. Be careful.
See, he says he's never seen anything so powerful, but Oryx, remember that unique dialogue thing I was telling you all about? Well, apparently Ghost treats you differently. I'm guessing like when it came to like beginning of Destiny 2 as opposed to now. But he would treat you differently in the sense that, oh, that's a perfect time for this Celestial Nighthawk. I'll have to wait for him to do that again. I was hiding in case he did that, his little laser sweep. There we go. Didn't kill him, but I got that good shot in. That's what I was waiting for, but oh well. And now he's immune. There's the Valkyrie, but I'm not going to use it. Especially when I gotta take these guys out.
Keep fighting.
Oh, don't worry, you don't have to tell me twice. Whenever Zol does that, you're going to have to jump, because otherwise he'll shoot you straight into the air. And if he does that, you'll be shot so high up that by the time you land, you'll pretty much take full fall damage, which will kill you. Speaking of being killed, if you're under him when this happens, it'll also kill you.
I can't believe it. You did it. You took down a worm god.
Yeah, without Rasputin's junk, too.
We're a team now, Anna. A good one.
So much for needing the Valkyrie. Again, she's really pushing that Rasputin agenda, and that's the one thing I don't like about her. I really do hope she just doesn't know about Rasputin's atrocities, but does find out later, and then has a revelation. That'd be great.
The Bray family shaped me to be an all-seeing savior, while your vanguard sought to wield me as a primitive weapon. But today, that ends, and I define the reality of my own existence.
I like how she was throwing shade at Zavala.
My sight will stretch to the edge of this system and beyond. Never again will a threat go unseen. From this day forward, I will defend humanity on my own terms. I am Rasputin, guardian of all I survey. I have no equal.
What have we done?
Exactly.
Don't worry. We've got this.
Yeah, she says that, but like I said, I like how she threw shade at Zavala. But then at the same time, she had that face after Rasputin basically declared himself to be a god. Just to rebound and say, no, it's cool, we got this. How? How? Rasputin is literally uncontrollable. How? That's why I'm also super happy that the pyramids put Rasputin in his place, as they should. I don't know where he got that no longer will a threat go unseen bullcrap from, because I just told you the darkness was long since seen coming. Rasputin saw it. He's the one that wanted to go hush hush about it. He could have been sounded the alarm, but he didn't. So I don't know what that crap was about. God, I hate this computer. I'm definitely going to have to unwind and play some Final Fantasy or Warframe or some mindless fun after this. And I will absolutely do the next expansion on Friday. Hopefully, I'll still have decent Wi-Fi. The worst has seemed to have passed. I haven't been laggy or nothing lately. So I'm hoping beyond hope that everything is fine now. But I won't know for certain until I actually do my stream Friday and we see how it holds up. But you saw there was, well, I say you saw, but nobody's here. You will see, I should say, that there was no notification pop-ups. So it looks like I did fix that, which is great.
Are you familiar with the phrase, "Be careful what you wish for"?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's something that's been running through my head since watching Rasputin launch a brand new Warsat network. Under his sole control.
Mm-hmm.
I should be afraid. Any rational person would be. But I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I know without a question that no matter what comes next, we can face it together.
That's very touching, and she's right. But my thing is, by together, do you mean together with Rasputin? Because what if Rasputin himself becomes the problem? Because something the Hive tried to do in Destiny 1 was destroy, if not corrupt, Rasputin. So if we have to someday fight Rasputin, what about that? Also, I didn't get to mention this back then, but I mentioned how Rasputin, at least it seems like he could have done this, controlled the Exos remotely, because a part of him is inside of them, or somehow he can just do that. Because Clovis Bray is also behind Rasputin as well as the Exos, so it would make sense if he had hooked up the Exos to work as a puppet army for Rasputin. I could see that happening, and it alludes to something like that, so I figured he could do that, despite the fact Rasputin himself created Felwinter, but apparently couldn't control him, or at least couldn't control him after Felwinter became a Guardian. I said all that to say, one of the things that might explain why Exos all share the same dream is the Deep Stone Crypt, which is the new raid that's coming out in Beyond Light, so I'm really curious to see what goes on in that. Unfortunately, I don't have a clan to do it with, but I'm sure I'll get around to it eventually. Then, as far as, it might not have anything to do with Rasputin while they have that dream. It could be the programming or something related to it, the procedure with Clovis Bray themselves that caused that to happen. One more little fun fact before I end this stream. Exos, because they don't technically need it, actually have problems with insomnia, and it's said that the only people that have a worse problem with insomnia in Destiny is hunters. So you can already imagine what insomnia for a hunter Exo must feel like. I know I can. My heart really goes out to Cade. especially since he can't like get out like he wants to. Let's see what this is, but because I don't remember this being part of the main quest. It might not be. It might just be like a patrol-esque kind of thing. Okay, yeah, so you go back to Zavala. So yeah, we're technically done. It's just the expansion itself is not over because we still got to talk to Zavala.
Did you ever meet Andal? He taught me a lot about being a hunter. He kept telling people that Cade was Rasputin, though.
Yeah, he did. That was a little joke that Andal and Cade shared. I don't know if Andal was actually joking about that or not. He seems like he would be. Or who knows, maybe he honestly, truthfully believed it. But it was written in the sense that Andal was just poking at Cade, saying that he was Rasputin. Which is funny, because if there was anyone who was Rasputin, it would actually be Fellwinter. That's really tragic. Like, Fellwinter, I'm very curious what could have been done if Fellwinter could have lived. I wished all the Iron Lords would live, all of them. But Fellwinter was uniquely special because he would have ties to Rasputin. So it would have been very lovely to see how Anna Bray would react if Fellwinter was around and Rasputin was still trying to kill him. That would be very interesting to me to see. Because again, Anna Bray is all about that Rasputin agenda. She herself pretty much admit this is something that I probably should be afraid of. But I have absolute blind faith in Rasputin. It'll be fine. So I'm glad the darkness, if there's anything I'm grateful for, I'm glad the darkness put Rasputin in his place. As far I'm still planning to destroy them if I get the chance. Heck, I'll destroy Rasputin too if they give me the chance to do that. But as far as the darkness is concerned, that's the one thing I'm grateful for. You put Rasputin in his place, and I couldn't be more grateful. But I can't let you just run amok in my solar system either, so. But yeah, Andal Brask, interesting thing about Andal Brask, because he helped me realize something I didn't know before. I thought your personality or something about your past life dictated the type of guardian you would be. Because you see in the game, it doesn't work like Final Fantasy in the sense that, oh, you started as a hunter. Or who knows, maybe they'll introduce this in Destiny 3 or something, but this has been pretty much static, is once you choose a class, your class is permanent. You cannot change it. Once you're a hunter, you are staying a hunter. If you're a Titan, you stay a Titan. If you're a Warlock, you stay a Warlock. It's always been that way. The closest thing you can be around that is if you make your own little headcanon and make your characters, because you can make 3 of them, make them look exactly like each other and just say, oh, well, my Guardian has the unique ability to be any class they want to be. Okay, fine. I'm not going to burst your bubble. If you want to headcanon that, fine. But lore-wise, it seems that's not possible. Once you are a certain Guardian, you are like that for life. That being said, I thought it was up to your personality, but apparently it's not. It's just how you wield the light, because it mentions how Andal Brask chose to walk the path of the hunter. He went out of his way to choose hunter, and that was very interesting to me, because that means it has nothing to do with your personality or past life. You can just choose what kind of guardian you want to be by how you use the light. But it seems like once you choose that path, you can't unchange it. Seemingly. Again, who knows what the future expansions might say about that, but seemingly you can't change it.
The Traveler's light has illuminated a path into a world of immense change. But the brighter the light, the deeper the shadows. How we choose to navigate that path, that will define us for years to come. But in all this uncertainty, one thing has never wavered. And that is my faith that you are the one who will lead the way forward.
He has a way with words, this man. So, that kind of alludes while saying your guardian is the guardian. Like, everyone else is just a guardian. You know, like, you might have helped with certain strikes or whatnot. But specifically, you are like the war hero. You specifically are the one who ended the Red War. If it was looking at me, I was one of those helpless guardians who just happened to live. You were the hero. While in my perspective, my storyline, I was the hero. So, that's kind of the unique thing here. It's kind of like the Final Fantasy with the Warrior of Light, where there's only one. It's you. But from everyone else's perspective, they're the Warrior of Light, and you're just an adventurer. A pretty handy and hardy one, but just an adventurer. And boom, there we go. That's that expansion down. Looks like there's one more thing I can visit, though. Oh, yeah, and it was mentioned before. I didn't comment on this at all. But it mentioned before about how an Exo's mind can be reset roughly 20 times.
Glad you're still getting out there.
Banshee 44's has been reset 44 times, and he still functions.
No
Barely.
substitute for a full magazine.
So yeah, he's an excellent weaponsmith, or gunsmith, I should say. He knows his stuff when it comes to guns. It's just like everything else, he seems to forget most everything else. Something else I can relate to.
What do you need? I won't forget everyone we lost. I won't.
According to this, I can talk to him. Huh. And I know for a fact I've touched that too. So okay, I guess those are just like heads up of, hey, you have a weekly quest for this person. Okay, fine. Well, thank you all for tuning in, or, you know, watching later, I guess, but I appreciate it nevertheless. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for stopping by to watch. Thanks for watching the entire thing, or most of it, once it's officially uploaded to YouTube as a video as opposed to a live stream. And hopefully the next expansion will go a bit better, because it's definitely longer. Now, this one I know for a fact. It's definitely longer than Warmind, and it's definitely longer than the Curse of Osiris. I almost said Trials again. So I know I'm not going to be wrong about that. So it all comes down to how the stream, how the Wi-Fi wants to hold up when I do it. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching this video after it's officially uploaded. And I'll see you around.